Good.
All right, I'm American Grayson, and this is Pure Politics. Where I just started. We're joined by Nick Ochs from the Ochs Report. This guy he's an amazing guy. He does a lot of stuff. Know you worked with Murder the Media. You're a Marine Corps veteran. You work with the Proud Boys. You do a whole lot of on the ground reporting now as well. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, man. It's been a minute since I've done an interview, so I'm appearing all bearded with my new look, and hopefully not too surprising to people. But glad to be on.
I like it. Let's make beards great again. Too many soy boys
All
have them.
right.
All right. So we were just talking about it before the camera, and I just want to touch on it real quick going in that January 6th, I loved it. It was an amazing day. We had hundreds of thousands of peaceful protesters out there, millions to support President Trump, and the media is making a big lie about what's going on that day. And I was wondering, you can talk about it a little bit, kind of give us some details about what's going on, because people who know you know that you have some stuff. I'll let you elaborate.
Yeah, so I was in Washington D.C. on the 6th and got myself in a little bit of trouble. So for legal reasons, I'm not going to talk about the case against me that definitely exists. But I don't want to give like opinions exactly on the day. I don't want to think that'll be put in a courtroom and say you said this. It's nothing. I don't really hold too spicy beliefs. I'm not one of those types. If you're wondering about me, I will say this: to peg me as someone who was there as like a diehard Trump supporter, which I think a lot of people believe is not really what was going on. With NT Media, we do journalism and we sort of satirize and make fun of everyone too. It's not we're not one of the own the libs type outfits. They're more making fun of the sort of boomer right true believer types, and I think that gets lost in the details sometimes.
Well, yeah, the media is not very accurate when describing you. I was reading through some of the things that they write, and pretty much all the horrible things they say about you. And I'm in your group on Telegram. I think you're a wonderful guy. We always have a lot of good jokes, and you let me promote my channel there, so big thanks for that. But when they say that you're a white supremacist or you're a Nazi, and I hear these
Mhm.
phrases thrown around at a lot of people. So it's not just you. And when I was doing some research, I mean, your wife is actually black. You have a lot of engagement in the community. You're not any of these names and labels are thrown at you.
Yeah, it was normal for the fringes and the outskirts of media.
All right,
You
we're having a
that's
little
spicy
bit of lag right
fun,
now.
right? I'm back my I'll talk slower.
All right, it was lagging out when you answered.
All right, good. All just where so I have this sort of spicy reputation online, and that's it your life way of reality. I mean, you've got people permanently see it hiding under every leaf, and it just gets tiresome. I don't. I first brought up that there's a pretty obvious gate that I'm not supremacist. That would be my wife. Yeah, like the number one is don't go black girls. You get real quick. So the word white supremacy sort of violence. Years ago, the
All right,
office.
I'm gonna have to
Um,
stop you right there. We're lagging pretty bad. I think it's on your side, and it's getting very difficult to hear you. Can I ask, are you on a mobile
let's just
device?
start over. Just
Yeah, yeah,
give me like
we can.
2 minutes.
I'll monologue while you're away, because I was reading through some of your stuff, so I'd have a lot to ask about.
Super quick, man.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just gonna monologue while you're getting set up. So this guy Nick Ochs, I actually met him through Telegram, and I didn't know anything about his Ochs report at all until I'm on there and I spread the pure politics word. I talk about a lot in politics, a lot that's going on, and I appreciate these guys coming onto my show to talk about their experiences. And one thing I noticed is that he engages with a lot of people, and he's just an all around nice guy. If you have opinions that he disagrees with, this guy, he's not gonna like. I haven't had any debates with him, but he's gonna let you talk and get your perspective out there, and I really liked that. Big reason why I asked him on, and on January 6th, I'll talk about it. Let's see, the feed just cut out, but I know you can still hear me. So January 6th, dang, it's it's a little bit off. There we go, right in the center. He went inside the Capitol building, and when they put out those wanted posters, just going to switch screens real quick, and then they put out the wanted posters, the FBI, he's on the top 4. And I was like, I know this guy from Telegram, and I saw it. It was him, Baked Alaska, and 2 other guys. So when he's talking about January 6th in his court case, he's talking about how he's talking with his lawyers. The FBI is trying to build a case, put him away for 80 years, something like that. It's a pretty big deal. And you got to understand when he doesn't want to go into the details about January 6th, is that the FBI is going to take anything he says to anybody, and they're going to twist it around to fit whatever narrative they want. So just him coming on is a big deal. I mean, the FBI is not fooling around when they are coming after these people. One of my other friends, Polish American Brotherhood, I'm going to be having her on. She was telling me that just this morning the FBI called her and was giving a bunch of personal information of how you have this at your house. We went and visited these people, and she's going, well, what does that have to do with anything? So it's serious business. And we got Nick Ochs back. It looks like the quality's a lot better. Your camera's turned. It's vertical right now. Not sure. There it goes. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Sorry about that, man. I got this Hawaiian internet it's not great everywhere.
Oh yeah, no problem. I appreciate you coming on. I was just doing a little bit talking about January 6th and why it's a big deal that you're actually coming on, and you even mention it because the FBI is not fooling around. They're trying to put people away for decades.
Yep, I'm looking at 20 years at the max, but these are some wild times.
Yeah, I watched. I'll just model. You don't have to answer on any of it. I watched some of the videos about it, and a lot of the people who went in there are really peaceful. And every picture and video that you're in, you just kind of you look like a tourist. You know, you're just walking around peacefully. You're not doing anything. And then the news reports for this insurrection, nobody even had any weapons. So it was a bloodless insurrection on their side. I mean, Representative Paul Gosar was talking about Ashley Babbitt and how she was executed. That was his words. He used that. So the only blood to water the tree of liberty was by a patriot.
Yeah, the often reported thing in the media is that 5 people died, but they have died of natural causes, heart attacks, and I guess some died of an amphetamine overdose, which is kind of strange. But no one was killed other than Ashley Babbitt, which is absolutely a strange thing to see in print. It's such an easily verifiable one Google look away to find out what that means, and it's just people are saying it without, and it's slanderous. But anyway, yeah. So I was there as a journalist. I filmed things. I've said this many times. I'll continue reiterating that. I didn't break anything or anything like that. But I did film what happened. That's what I came there to do.
Yeah, well, we need people like you. I've been going to some other places, and it's people like you or even me in my own capacity who are filming these events. The mainstream media is not there. I don't know if you saw any mainstream media.
Yeah, I did. There were some people walking around in the building who were legacy press and all that, and they have not been apprehended. So make of that what you will.
All right. So to shift gears, you are doing the Ochs Report, right? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's my brand name for anything I do on the internet. And, mostly I do comedy. I write jokes. I try to bring a little levity to heavy times. And I think I do all right at that. Got a little fan base, and it's mostly just about having fun. But occasionally we'll go out there and go, track down some real stories, give my basically unfiltered opinions. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it. And, if you do too, look me up on Telegram. That's the only place I'm still tolerated.
Yeah, you're the Shrimp King on there.
That's right. We have a lot of shrimp in the chat. Hop in there. It's a good time,
Yeah. That's a big reason why I was kind of drawn into it because he's just a really nice guy. And so the Ochs report, I'm not completely clear about it. I know Miley Yiannopoulos, he does shout outs for you. He really likes you. Is it somehow associated with Milo or Band.TV in any way?
No, no, me and Milo just get along. It's always been my own thing. I mean, I've been at the Oaks Report as I don't know, a brander you want to call it, 2015, I think. It started out as a Facebook thing, got some traction there, but someone like me just isn't meant to last in a place like Facebook.
A conservative. That's how I would define you. You have very conservative beliefs, and I don't want to conflate that with modern conservatism with the Bruce Jenner crowd.
Well, there's different kinds of conservatives, aren't there? If you look at the top posts on Facebook any day of the week, today included, I mean, just it'll be Ben Shapiro for the most part. You're going to find some other big name conservatives, maybe like a musician will pop in there one day. So mostly it's PragerU and these type of big name conservatives who have the most reach and the most read posts on Facebook for any given day. And while they complain a lot about censorship, I don't find that to really qualify. It's kind of the opposite, isn't it? But people who fall a little to the right of them do get censored. And the people who fall very much to the right of them, who are more right than me and say these racial things that I don't really get into personally, a lot of them tend to not get censored. It's this really a sweet spot on the internet that we get locked out of things.
Could I bring up Richard Spencer as an example? He doesn't seem to get censored.
Mm.
He's
He lingers, right? I mean, he's
yeah.
he's I'm not trying to put words in anyone's mouth, but I believe he wouldn't dispute the phrase white nationalist. He wants a nation for whites, and he speaks to this. So that's enemy number one for all these activists. But he still lingers where I don't. I don't find a white nation to be a plausible sort of way to think about anything. How would that happen? You're going to go conquer Idaho? It just doesn't make sense to me. But some people do advocate it, and I think they should have every right to. I just find it strange that I can't say anything to a real audience when they can, and they are all these things that I get accused of being. It's odd.
Yeah, censorship, speaking about that, not the white nationalist thing, it really seems like there is a concerted effort, it's not random, to shape the narrative and kind of paint certain groups in a light while censoring out rational voices. Because it sounds like you have a rational voice, and they just don't want it on there. They don't want people to hear your message.
Yeah, I advocate for certain things. I try to get too complicated. My whole deal is I try to speak in plain language and add a little bit of humor and make what's going on as understandable as I can as one man. And how deeply I understand things, that's up to other people to judge. But that's it. And I advocate I basically this sort of where's the right wing at right now? We want to take cultural conservatism, cultural right wing values, nationalism, traditionalism, whatever you want to call it, and say at the same time the hollow rhetoric of just tax breaks and big business will save us is also fake and gay. So if we move away from that, it doesn't make you a full blown socialist or anything like that, but we need to rethink a little bit of the direction of the right wing. That's where I'm at right now, anyway.
Yeah, very much so. So more of a nationalist economy in a way, because it really seems like the laissez-faire, cut taxes, free open markets doesn't work in a globalist, open borders society. Is that what you're speaking about?
Yeah, close the borders, blah blah blah. That's day one stuff. But I think where we're going now is people are, at least I am starting to think like, why do I have to hate the idea of free healthcare? Isn't that an awesome thing that you'd like in your country? I mean, we have a terrible healthcare system, and why is it only the terrain for liberals to complain about? Like, no, that's a legitimate thing to worry about. Damn, get hurt on the job, and if you fail your drug test for weed from 3 weeks ago, right, they're not going to cover it, and then you got to choose between your hand and your life savings. All this, that's terrible. That's terrible, and that can be a right wing cause as much as anything.
Yeah, I'm going to challenge you on the healthcare thing a bit, because I think it's a great example, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. We can look at the Scandinavian nations who have a type of socialized healthcare, for lack of a better description, and their populations are pretty much homogenous, and now they've let in all of these invaders. You can see they're not just healthcare, but many institutions beginning to collapse. So for America, we have such a diverse population that diversity is not a strength but a weakness. I don't see universal health care working in our current situation, and that's my
Oh, I don't
perspective.
see any of this shit working in America. Like, no, I know there's problems. Listen, things like free healthcare are sort of that cherry on top of the sundae of a well functioning nation, and we ain't there. Like, no, I realize. And the European example thing is it goes deeper than that. Yeah, they're having their troubles with people that come in, and there are net losses from foreign countries as far as safety nets go and all that. But they're not really these successful socialist experiments that they claim to be, because I mean their military is subsidized by America. We have bases all over Germany and in Eastern Europe, and Sweden and Russia get into it all the damn time, right? This is not new, and we are the sort of barrier out there with our bases for logistics and troops and blah blah blah. They don't have to spend money on that, and we are. So they have some left over for healthcare and easygoing jails or whatever they're into these days.
Yeah, that's a really good point. How do you feel about America's global military while we're on the subject?
Yeah, well, I was part of America's global military. I'm over it, man. It's everyone's pretty enlightened to the fact that we don't need to start any more wars. It's just that there doesn't seem to be a great answer. We're going to get out of Afghanistan now. Finally, I guess Biden's actually going to do it, where Trump talked about it a lot. But then what's going to happen? There's going to be another refugee situation that no one in America is going to say we can't take another million from this new country that's failing, apparently. So yeah, it's just freaking awful. We need to be basically anti-war unless there's a threat to ourselves. And I don't. ISIS are the worst people on earth, but they're not an existential threat to America. Never have been. They're going to run around and behead people all over the Middle East, but are they a threat to Cleveland? No, you know.
I'm hearing America first rhetoric out of you. It sounds like we need to put America first. I mean, it's
Yeah, sure. I'm America
all
first.
right.
Capital America, capital F first. It's yeah. I got no problem with those guys. I ran for office in Hawaii for local office, and I had America first listed next to my name. It's absolutely a philosophy I basically jive with. Not full
Awesome.
on Groiper or anything, I guess, but good dudes.
So we're just gonna keep rolling with it. The video kind of froze, so if I'm moving around, don't worry about that. About, I guess I'm just gonna ask it because you're a Marine Corps veteran. What was your opinion on the Israeli-Palestinian event? You're on Telegram, and you know there is a lot of discussion going on with that that's not being had anywhere else because Facebook censors, Twitter censors, even YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping you wouldn't ask because I've so far avoided the question, but no one can, especially not on Telegram. Yeah, listen. I want to take the basic stance that, like I just said, it's not our fight and we should stay out of it. I hope we do. But I realize the answer is also a cop out. They're fighting again. The Israelis treat the Palestinians like animals, and the Palestinians have in ways behave like animals at the same time. So it's a bit of a chicken and the egg thing. I find fault on both sides. For the record, I think the Israelis are being the bigger dicks.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta agree with that. It's just I'm laughing because it's so incredibly hard to talk about these things on Facebook and Twitter, and everybody's just trying to rage about it. But you can only do it within their speech lines. You cannot allow it to go outside of the zone. And even anybody who kind of slightly criticizes the nation of Israel gets accused of anti-Semitism when really it's not. We're not criticizing the Jewish race. We're criticizing the actions of a nation.
I don't think I've ever talked about Jews. I mean, of course, I get called anti this, anti that. I get called an anti-Semite since I cut off the end of a hot dog and I sent the picture into Hebrew National. I asked them how they could consider it kosher if it didn't come circumcised. So that little joke maybe started that trend. But no, I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't think there's anything wrong with noticing when Israel does something terrible and calling it out, or any other country.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the main point that I was trying to make there is when people do try to criticize Israel, they want to make it into an argument about anti-Semitism, and I think we're on the same page when I say that's ridiculous.
Well, they're running a mileage on that one, aren't they? I mean, the sort of losing patience with certain things the Israeli military or government does is it's just not so effective anymore for when activists will call you that, because somebody on the left, I mean, the left basically doesn't support Israel. It's uncommon. And what are you going to say to us? Like, it's your team who's I mean, who really supports Israel these days? It's sort of a boomer Republican thing.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So before we go into a subject that's going to get me kicked off of YouTube, I think we can all agree Israel's not in the right. The Palestinians aren't actually that cool, and it's just a horrible quagmire going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Israel has a right to exist. Any country that exists has a right to exist. You can fight for that. I think that the map that grows in the Palestinian territory that shrinks is like that's noticeable. I mean, what were you supposed to tell these people? They were just living there, and now they can't. Like getting evicted, that's a strange thing to me. I'm not the Israeli expert. I'm gonna say something dumb, frankly. Like it's not my subject.
Yeah, we'll move out of that subject.
Very willing to admit that, but that's my general attitude. You can go bitch at me in the chat if you want. Everyone watching.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get some comments on Telegram because you know the environment there.
Yeah, nothing good. It's how could you not go that far? How could you not go far enough? Blah blah blah. Man, I don't really got a dog in this fight, but I've said one's acting worse right now. That's the best that you'll get.
All right. Well, thanks for at least touching on it. So, circle back. I'm going to use a Jim Psaki term. Circling back, I talked about briefly. I mentioned the modern conservatives kind of support Bruce Jenner in a way. Where do you stand on turning the party of the GOP into the party of the LGBT?
Yeah, it's a nice thought that we could run a tranny and we only care about the politics that said tranny espouses, but even her politics aren't good. Like, amnesty and all this. But let's say it was like a truly based tranny. Say that really did come. I mean, even then, I got to say, like, enough is enough. It's just the idea, and call it identity politics, call it whatever you want, but just a transsexual to head up a state, like, at some point you got to call the culture war. Like, we're not giving you that one. You know what I mean? I don't think the Jenner is a bad person, or I don't care about her personally. I think enough is enough with this. There's a lot of great candidates out there who say very sensible things, and they will not be the cream that rises at the top of the GOP. Like, the party's dead. I'm giving up on it. I encourage everyone else to as well.
Yeah, I unfortunately got to agree. The Republican Party, the establishment, is really just a zombified corpse. And they're getting behind Bruce Jenner, who's a him, by the way. Somebody in the chat's like, her? No, it's a him. And
yeah, I don't. The words. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm indulging their pronouns and shit. I'm just not being like a dick to this person.
Well, it's confusing.
You know what I mean? Like, it is. I don't want to seem like soft on the tranny question or whatever. I don't care. Like, how do you do that? Because I meet people now. Like, if you're a dude in a dress, right, but you got a beard, that's he. If you're a dude in a dress and but you did your makeup and you're making a fucking effort, I'll call you she. Is that fair? That's the best I got.
You're very libertarian in that way.
I don't think so, man. I fucking hate libertarians. Sorry, half the viewership, but it's just on this particular issue, man. I don't know. I guess I indulge them a little bit. I don't give a shit. Just stay out of the fucking libraries.
Yeah, I think a lot of people used to be of that opinion, but as everything's become so overwhelming because all the gay parades are right in your face, and now it's bake the cake bigot. I mean, that's like the law of the land. You will go to jail. It's just so overwhelming in everything that people are saying, enough is enough. We're not even going to tolerate it or in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, what bugs me is when they try to get a response, and then when somebody gives them one, it's the end of the world. Like, if you're a man with a beard and a dress, that's funny. That's fucking funny. I'm going to have a chuckle about it. If you're a dude who's really just, you're sexually eccentric or whatever, and you really want to be a lady, I won't fuck with you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, live your life. But again, don't bring kids into it, which they really tend to, as you know.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my post earlier today. Hulu's coming out with a new children's show about a mixed race gay couple and their adopted child.
Yeah, just check off the fucking bingo boxes on this one. I mean, that's it. They're rubbing your face in it. Like, they know, right? They're being irritating on purpose. And this phenomenon, I think I know what it is, man. If you go back, like, I don't know, 2014. If you watch a show from 2014, it'll probably be all right. Anything after that, you're getting episode 3. Like, there's a fat bitch who's gonna lecture you on something. You know what I mean? And I think it's when the next generation of writers graduated from college, and you had young female writers who are going to get their way, or they're going to get somebody fired in the room. And everybody who's has a writing job in Hollywood has to indulge these bitches, and that's why you get what you get in season 1, like episode 8. Here it is.
So it's like the Me Too diversity quotas in a way.
Yeah, people don't actually have any desire for lesbian superheroes, but there always is one, right? Like that's pushed a very specific way, and I think I know what it is. I think it is 23 and 24-year-old white females who just graduated from major universities and got the first writing job. And if you tell them you don't want that lesbian Superman, whatever, then somebody's getting Me Too. This is my completely unbacked up theory.
I don't disagree with you, but I want to point out Star Wars, the new Star Wars, the scriptwriter was a man and director's a man. And the guy did a couple interviews saying that he wanted to make it terrible. He's like, I want to make this movie unpredictable.
Yeah, I mean, you have indoctrinated people everywhere. We've lost every facet of professional life. It's not just like you're not going to find a fun college to go to. Like, you can't work in anywhere with an HR department. They know you're not of their little intellectual tribe, and you'll never get promotion. First of all, you're going to get fired. You're going to get accused of something. Like, it's a lot of cancellations don't happen because they're just calling you racist. There will just be somebody reports you for something else, and they can aspire to get you at work. I'm not speaking from personal experience. I did get canceled, but from the right, so it's a bit different. So, yeah, good luck, man. What do we do? Do we retreat to the woods and grow potatoes like so many want, or do we get back there and try to get back in regular life? I think it's a different thing. I think we've got to make our own regular life. We've got to make our own internet just like they told us to. And, yeah, I know they try to stop. I'm kicked off of every payment processor in the world, kicked out of banks, right? But we got to do it. Like, there will be somebody with enough money who makes a bank that serves right-wing people, and enough right-wing people need a bank, I suppose. Is that too fucking straight-up hopeful capitalist? Maybe. But we got to make our own thing, and the market out there is huge. I mean, what are you streaming on right now before I say what I'm saying next?
Are you Streamlabs OBS? Are we contacting on Zoom?
No, like, is it going to YouTube?
Yeah, we're streaming on YouTube. Yeah.
All right. So there's a giant market out there for people that just want to hear the crass joke I was about to make and can't. All right. And they'll come to Telegram for that. It's huge. Like, regular people want to just talk like they do with their friends in bars. They want to have TV shows and skits and whatever that reflect that. That's coming back. That's coming back big. I mean, the groundwork has been laid. The payment processors are coming back. The platforms are coming back. And I think that the left's ability to stop this is somewhat limited. It's definitely, they're not done. Trust me. But we're having our first signs of victory. And I love it. It's fun. Like, this is the time to be doing these live streams. I talk to people who are looking at 20 years in jail and all this shit. It's a wild time. Like, yeah, this is interesting shit. Get involved.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I think it is good to be hopeful about our future. Demoralization wouldn't be necessary if they'd already won. So they are legitimately scared that there's going to be an alternative to everything they're kicking us off of. And I'm still on YouTube just because I have a really low subscriber count. I'm not going to brag about being famous. And so I think you're definitely 100% right on that. We need to keep fighting and making our own alternative platforms, because eventually we're going to make it, and there is a big market out there for it.
Yeah, I am very hopeful in a lot of ways. But again, I've been through the ringer, man. So what is she going to do to me, really? I'll be here. I'll linger.
Yeah. And earlier you said that you were also canceled by the right, and I know a little bit about that, but I'm gonna let you tell your own story.
Yeah, sure. I was canceled by Judge fucking Janine from Fox News, man. That's who got me. Yeah, people don't know. That sucked. I was working in Korea, CPAC Korea, mainstream thing, and she found out my association with a certain proud right-wing drinking club, and she saw to it. I got blacklisted. I got kicked out. I mean, I've worked in mainstream conservative media. I pretty much met everyone once, at least known by reputation, blah, blah, blah. And she was the one, man. She was the one. It's not like I don't put my stink in other people. Like, I know, I'm never going to try to bring down nobody with me. But I'm not there and like hiding behind Judge Needing pictures on Fox News like, hey, But she just found out that, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. These are essentially, these people have no beliefs. She tries to come across as based in the boomer way, and people buy it. But I mean, for absolutely no risk to herself, she ended my career. I mean, my wife was 8 months pregnant, former Marine. I'm pretty much the demographic that's supposed to watch Fox News and all this, but no, they're thankless soulless mostly. I think Tucker's our boy. I won't talk Fox News totally down, but
Yeah, Tucker
Bill
Carlson's
Jones,
the
I was
only
saying,
he's the only
Bill
good guy on
Jones, Fox
Fox.
News, whack jacking hookers. We're on it.
Now that's interesting that Judge Janine is going after those prideful young men. And I've heard Ted Cruz has disavowed them quite a few times, and it really feels like these mainstream politicians, these mainstream Fox News anchors, they're getting their information from the same mainstream articles that are trying to destroy them, like Washington Post and New York Times.
Yeah, well, there's no downside to Cruz saying that, right? People generally don't really know who the Proud Boys are because they're banned from everything, right? And if you put any sort of even vaguely approval language with those words, you'll be kicked off Facebook like that. I mean, for life. It's before I made it biggest in the news last time. Actually, my name got people Facebook bans by typing it. It's
Wow.
just wild. Yeah,
Wow. So
that's apparently it's all negative comments now, so that doesn't happen anymore. But that was verified. Uh, yeah, it's just a strange time, but there's reasons for them to disavow these funny little groups or whatever. Like, why not? If you're Ted Cruz, like, we're not gonna get to his campaign or whatever. Like, just put it down, move on.
well, from my perspective, maybe I'm in an echo chamber. I see a lot of these raw videos that come out from the riots. So my opinion of these prideful young men, which is how I'm going to refer to them just for YouTube censorship,
Mm.
is that they're the good guys, because all of this raw footage I see coming out from Antifa, these are not the prideful guys. They're not the ones burning down stores and randomly attacking people. They're mostly standing up for elderly people, children, protecting property. I mean, these are pretty much patriots, in my opinion, from what I see.
Yeah, and that kind of thing. Like, we really don't like the street stuff. That was 2017, whatever. Back then, it was. You look at this on TV, and you can't walk through a lot of major cities, say Portland, wearing a Trump hat. You can't support the sitting president. You can't have an American flag on your shirt or whatever. People will beat you up. And for that reason alone, I get the marching to the street and saying, we're not going to take that. Right? It's not anti-government or anything else. It's a cultural thing. But the I don't see the little whiny rich kid throwing bricks at people in banks as really the biggest problem here. Is that if he throws a brick at you and you defend yourself, then you could go to jail for life. Like, that's the system that bugs me. They're almost irrelevant. They're just a novelty. So I don't want to get caught up as Proud Boys or anyone else, which have largely learned this. Well, why put yourself at risk and go to jail forever? And boomers will still, you see it. Like, there's some article in Kansas, like the city council wanted to call on the Proud Boys to go protect them. Well, first of all, no, it was like one guy had some brief comment or something. Secondly, why the fuck would we show up to that? You want us to go to jail because you got some BLM hoopling around? No, we're the most thankless people in the world here. Glad we used to guard Ann Coulter. People tried to throw piss on her, and we went between Ann Coulter and piss. That's where this all comes from. You know what I mean? That's a decent thing to do. But anymore, why the hell would we just go to jail?
Yeah, it's the unfortunate modern America, the way they're doing it, and they're not just coming after the those prideful young men. I mean, getting kind of blackpilled here. They seem to be going after anybody who is mildly patriotic.
Yeah, it seems like it's not even a right or left thing so much anymore because the left won so thoroughly, but it's the boring middle has their clutches and everything. And if you get out of that middle space to where anything like gets interesting on either side, that's getting clamped down on now. I'm much less so on the left, of course, but they're learning. I mean, Antifa is going to find themselves a lot less welcome to Biden presidency. It doesn't help him to have these riots in town now. It's not great for their elections, and I don't think they're going to have quite the kid gloves they've been used to experiencing. Now, I don't think it'll be exactly rough either, but that's what really scares me is the boring earth we seem to be headed to.
Uh, Age of mediocrity.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. With Antifa, I've been reading, keeping up with some of the news. They're still getting arrested and then released on that same day. So there are still kid gloves going on. So
That's DAs. Yeah. You get an ideological district attorney. I mean, it is what it is. And lawyers are, they're upper crust people for the most part. They can afford good schools. And these people are overwhelmingly soft ass liberals who will cause you trouble with the power they can wield and you can't. is what it is.
What I was going to point out with that, for the federal government, it seems like this plan for Antifa to implement whatever dark evil things they have in store is not finished yet, because Antifa is still being allowed to go out and commit havoc and chaos.
Yeah, I think it's going to be less so. I mean, but they're still going to do what they do. They never learn. They always go too far. That's just how it is. These people. I mean, I get Antifa in a way. You know, they really are mostly upper class white kids. That's not just like a Fox News talking point. And they don't have adventure in their lives. They want a cause. They want something to get out there and attach to. Because what do you got in America? You can realistically expect it to wage slave unless you're very fucking creative these days. And that's I think it's not so much even politics. It gets expressed through politics, but there's a vicious boredom, and it leads to this unrest, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, on that subject, it kind of seems that's a big calling from the right as well, and why the right wing's so dangerous, because we offer a lot of these people a struggle to be part of.
Sure, it happens on all sides, but whereas the leftist will tell you his struggle is legitimate and ours isn't, I'll tell you that our struggle is legitimate and theirs isn't. I could, come up with more reasons than that than they can, but that's just something we'll have to. That's why we're on the right and they're on the left,
Yeah. I'm going to go more in depth about this, because I post about it and I talk about it. Is that our struggle is righteous and just. And mentioning January 6th, that was an amazing day. That was a very patriotic day, perhaps the most American thing that we've done in this country for the last 70 years. And the reason why they need to censor a lot of what's going on with conservatism and the right wing is because that we are offering some sort of cause and a real struggle to these people who are sick of mediocrity and boredom. And to basically what we're going to, if we win, the right wing wins, we're getting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and all of this big government control over people's lives is going to end.
Yeah. It's there's just different types out there. I think the way you can really detect someone's authentic beliefs are how willing they are to answer questions. And of course, the left is known for not answering questions, but something very specific. Like if you just talk to a typical fucking Bugman type, they will very skillfully use rhetorical methods to dance around anything that shows them to be a hypocrite. They won't answer that shit directly. And I think that's the difference between them and other types of leftists too, not just a left and right thing. Like you get a straight up fucking communist. I'm talking like the economic type who's into that shit and the theories. They'll pretty much tell you what you ask. I find that anything nudge closer to the center from that, they just don't. And it really leads me to believe that they know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just bring up any conversation. Facebook is a private company, so it's cool that they ban you. The entirety of their existence, they've never, ever once valued a private company's right to do fucking anything until the moment that they banned the guy that was annoying them. That's an obvious thing, right? And that they will never address that directly. That's the type. And that's I think the leading indicator that our side is simply more honest intellectually, because we'll tell you, you know what I mean? You may not like everything I have to say if you're on the left. Believe me, you won't, but we'll tell you.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes says that the right wing, or conservatives, value truth over power, and liberals value power over truth.
I like that. That's very true.
All right, so I really wanted to talk about January 6th because I was there, but
I just can't say shit, man.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to answer. Did you have the FBI show up at your house at all? Like, how did that go down?
No, I will talk about that. So, no, the FBI has never showed up to my house.
Okay.
Because I know where I live. But so it became a thing on Black Twitter. My wife is Black, right? And it makes me kind of a novelty in the right or whatever. I don't know. But it's nothing I ever thought about. This is before politics, We've been together a while. But it became a thing on Black Twitter. There's D.L. Hughley is? He's got millions of followers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's a fucking dickhead. Anyway, he tweets or Facebooks out this photo of me and my wife holding our little baby, which I don't appreciate. And then right next to it is a novelty photo from the 60s or 70s of a Klansman with a black woman over his shoulder. Like it's a comedy photo from probably a book. They used to have like comedy books back then. But it's framed on somebody's wall. It's couldn't be any more obviously a joke. And obviously from the fucking 60s. It's in black and white. It's aged and shit. So he says that the FBI raided my house and they confiscated this picture, which he somehow has a picture of me in a Klansman outfit carrying my naked wife around the house. And like, it's astounding to me somebody's ability to not know that's not fucking real. Like, how do you fall for that? You know? But my wife puts up with a lot. She's the real saint in all this, and I want to thank her for that. But yeah, that's you get out there and you use your real name and you say what you believe on the right. It's gonna be rough for you. I won't lie about that.
Yeah, I've noticed the black community in general. So I'm gonna be a big picture for them. They are not ashamed at all to talk about any sort of race baiting or demonizing race mixing or just like get into all of that. So I can imagine they were reaming pretty hard.
You know, as far as straight up racism goes, like, yeah, black folks are pretty open about the race mixing thing, which is fine. I mean, before the current times, like, you know, I hear about it from black guys. They speak openly honest about it. And it doesn't bother me at all. They should. Like, you're a black dude, you don't have to love your woman against the white guy. All right, I get it. You know, well, white people don't have any equivalent of that. Like, there's a few internet racists that talk pretty boldly under fake names and shit. But your day-for-day life, you'll never meet a white person that's going to say anything on that level. It's a cultural difference. Okay, you know, fine. As far as straight up racist shit that's ever happened in my life, white racism, I can think of really one time. It was in Indiana that white racists made a thing of it. So that's what I call rare. Indian hotel owners are the most straight up racist experience in my life. I went to maybe a dozen different hotels in LA. I would walk in, ask if they have vacancy, walk out, bring my wife in, and ask again, and they just say no and point at her or say we're full. Like the most like a Spike Lee movie or something. Like it's just like in your face, but no one says shit because it's Hindus, so I guess no one talks about it. It's just too weird to be notable.
Yeah,
but as far as anything other than that, nah, I don't know. Like, don't see a shit ton of day-for-day racism.
That's true. We're the most post-racial society in existence of all time. So like America pretty much in the 1990s and 2000s was the utopia that a lot of these leftists want to believe they can make happen, and they're really just destroying
well, that's changing.
What they used to have.
And I mean that's changing in white people. White people are getting tired. I'll tell you straight up. Like I'm hearing white people say things now I wouldn't have heard them say a year or two ago, and they're sick of riots, and they're sick of not being able to criticize any institution or anything, and just they know they'll be called racist. Like it's filtered down to the regular people, and I don't blame anybody for being tired with that. But I mean, as these racial activists, they're just biting off more than you can chew, like literally creating racism at a high rate. Like what do you want?
Well, yeah, that's a really good point about what's happening with white America. Because just like looking at yourself as an example, I was reading articles before the interview about you, and there's all this horrible stuff. And I'm talking with you now, and I kind of knew you a little bit from the group chat. I mean, you're coming off as a really rational guy, and for the most part, you're very like center right. You're not very far right, in my opinion. So it seems like, you know, a lot of men are probably in your same situation of where they're like, you know, I'm just a normal guy. I want to go to work. I want to live my life. I don't want to be demonized for who I am. I want to be happy and safe. Is that a good assessment?
It's a little bit libertarian. I mean, truthfully, I'm an authoritarian right-wing type, strong nationalist, blah, blah, blah. You can put that little dot in the political compass. But that's not what gets me in trouble or labeled. It's because I say a lot of very direct things. Like I'm plain spoken, I guess, in a way that gets me in trouble. Like I'll make jokes and I'll just say things and blah blah blah. And I can't change. It's who I am. I don't feel bad about it at all. But it still is not that bad. It's just I insult the people that need to be insulted. That's really it. And that'll be activists. That'll be media, you know, stuff like that. So they take it personally and they try to make a big thing of it. Like you can go look at compilations of like all the terrible things I've said. And I look at them like, it's not that bad. Like it's actually pretty funny, and it comes across as the joke it is. People really have trouble distorting my words, which is what I was just writing about yesterday. If you see someone who's been the victim of a media meme, and you talk to a normie, for lack of a better word, they will know that that person is bad, but they won't be able to describe how. And that's really what's happened to me. It's journalism has gone from, I mean, you're trained, you used to be, to say as much as you can in as few words as possible. And this is directly because newspapers didn't have that much room. That's why. And that's not the same. That's not what journalism is anymore. Journalism is now using a lot more words to say really not much at all in vague ways that paint a picture, though, a very bright picture, but don't get in the same specifics. And that's why character assassination works so well as it does. Also, you can't sue anybody for shit. It just doesn't work. That's a problem.
It's a very prescient observation. So we're coming up on the end of it. I think we had a great conversation, and I really liked getting to know you. We've had some technical difficulties, so maybe I could have you on again sometime in the future when the heat's died down a bit, because I would really like to hear, after all the FBI stuff, hear about what went on in the Capitol that day. I know for me, personally, I mean, the left wing's really coming at me. The ADL made something, and I can only imagine, because you're a higher profile figure, what it's like for you. And everything that they're writing are lies. Like, I was there, I have video proof, and their descriptions are all wrong. I'm like, I have video that contradicts everything they've said. So I'd like to have you on in the future to talk about some of that once all the heat.
Yeah, the media thing. I mean, there's been things in my life that it's just so it's illegal, and very obviously in a way they wouldn't have gotten away with it. I mean, the Democratic Party of Hawaii took somebody else's anti-Semitic quote just right next to their name from Facebook and said, "I said it" in a press release. Now that you can't do that. You know what I mean? That's illegal. You get in trouble for that, but not anymore. A lawyer won't take the case because they don't want the woke reviews on Yelp. Is this a legal problem? Not as much as it's a cultural one. And I'd love to get into that more any other time, man.
Yeah. So plug some of your social media real quick.
Yeah, all one of them. Yeah, listen, you can get in a time machine and find me on Facebook. We had a lot of fun. Stories to tell about that, man. I got into some things, made some people mad, had some good times, some crazy videos. But for now, please find me on Telegram, a weird little Russian chat app. It's a lot of fun. There's a ton of weirdos there. You will find whatever you want, including me.
The Ochs report. Yeah, the app.
Yeah, the OCHS report at the Ochs report. I guess I should double check that. But if you type in the Ochs report in the little search bar on Telegram, I'm sure you'll find me.
Yeah, I'll add it into the channel, into the description here. And I want to comment on Telegram. It's actually a really big app right now just because of the amount of censorship happening on the legacy apps. So it's not just a little Russian thing anymore.
I know I should be on Gab and get like a bigger audience or whatever. Parler's gay, so I just don't mess with it. Yeah, it's a shit ton of fun, man. If you don't know what Telegram is, like, you'll waste more time on there than you do on Facebook. It is freaking fun.
They have you can upload full videos. You can do like 9-hour video uploads. You can do voice chats. You can't do live streaming yet, but that's going to come in. And it's all set up in a way that it's easy to use. That's what I like about it. It's not just so overwhelming with everything.
Yeah, you can be super dumb and succeed, which is that is my secret. I am not. I am a technology boomer, and Telegram is working for me, man.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Nick Ochs for the Ochs Report. I'm going to put the description for the Telegram link down in the description. And go download Telegram if you don't have it. It's a great app.
Hey, appreciate the talk, man. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks for coming on.